I'm going to bring you to the Godfather himself, Andy. Um,
Okay.
so here's phase A. I guess we can just take a quick look at it. So one of the key points he kind of focused on is if your group has chosen to develop more than one learning theme through email, Google Hangout, you're going to choose which theme was going to be explored first. So you guys have that option. Once
Okay.
the theme's been decided on, your group will have its first official Hangout. So where does that leave the next, 4 themes for you guys? That could be a tricky part, and I know it could be a whole lot of work, and there's going to be a lot of meetings. But yeah, I think you guys have to just choose the most important topic for you guys as of right now. And then let's just go through the blue box here. The Google Hangout's got to be streamed on YouTube. Each group member will discuss their understanding of the theme. You're identifying questions that they have, and you're communicating what they want to know more about.
And even the way how we've discussed things so far, I mean, there is going to be a natural overlap from one area to the other as well. So you may, as you get closer to school, be looking at more curriculum instruction, but technology may creep in there because you're going to be using that to enhance it. So I think it is going to be tough to completely separate one from the other.
Yeah, and I agree.
I think it's going to only help more people if you do, especially in that sense, if you have 2 themes that you focus on, and how do you tie them together, and maybe people will focus a little bit different too, on whatever it is that you guys are working on. But yeah, definitely going to have to do your main theme and kind of go and build from there. Naomi, do you have an update?
Yeah. So we got can you guys see this? Can you read
it? It was up there, and I think it disappeared. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it just says, how can we reach phys ed teachers who are not involved with Twitter? I think Andy put that up there because I saw that on Twitter there too. So with this project and without this project, just in general, how can we involve PE teachers who aren't on Twitter? How do we get to them?
Are you guys referring to people that are in our learning groups that are not on Twitter? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think just people in general, phys ed teachers in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it took Joe about 4 or 5 times of talking about Twitter before I actually got on board. And boy, once I got on board, it was very exciting. So I think you just have to keep talking it up.
Yes. And anything new can be quite uncomfortable for people to start off with, but if you keep sharing, keep saying, oh look, this is what I learned about this, and have you thought about that, and I guess just gradually leading a duck towards the water, and hopefully they'll start swimming alongside at some point. Word of mouth, any way you can share these things.
Well, I think that's what you're doing too, Joe, in your newsletter when you send the some more out. And, you can do it through the email, so they don't have to be on Twitter. But yet they're seeing some of the most important things that we feel like are out there that are maybe have been talked about on Twitter. So I think that some more, Joe, is fantastic, through our WHP organization. And obviously that's a good way to reach people too. So.
Yeah, that's been about. And again, where did I learn about that from? Through Twitter. Thanks to John Tate in the UK. He started using it, and I was like, wow, and it's free. And that could be something that people want to use for their schools, for their own newsletters, and I will continue to do that.
Yeah, I was trying to encourage, like Patty you're saying, or Joe, I think maybe you said this too, just showing them what we're doing, oh, this is what I saw, check this out. And I've been slowly trying to get, I think I got the majority of the phys ed teachers from my last school at Carleton on Twitter just before I left there. And now I'm trying to get, and I was, yes, but then I left, so I was like, oh dear. But then, my new school here too, there's quite a few of the teachers that were on there already before I was even there. So just kind of encouraging them. And, I always tell people, when it comes to Twitter, I call it professional development in my pajamas, right? I don't have to go anywhere. I can just sit on the couch and just check out what everybody else is doing, which is really kind of neat. So it's PD in your PJs is what I call it.
It is. It's on tap. it's whatever you want, wherever you want it. And
Yep.
you know, I love what Mr. Robert, the PE Geek, did with a 14-day Twitter challenge.
Yes.
That's a great one to start. You know, he really hit the nail on the head there. It does. You know, I started using this maybe, I think, 2.5 years ago, but it took me, you know, a good 6 months after that before I really started using it. It was the odd tweet here. I was just kind of finding my feet and how it all worked, and then it suddenly takes off. So what he's done there is really, really nice. And again, it's something that we can all share with people that we are connected with, and hopefully they'll give it a shot.
Right.
You know, I think we've all, as PE teachers, been involved in professional development that didn't necessarily cross with our area very well. And what a great area, because we get to be in control of what we're learning, you know, and it's 24/7, like Joe says, you know, so, and in pajamas.
Right, and then I would say, you know, find a friend or colleague who's doing it and watch them. Let them role model for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not taken up enough too. You know, going to someone else's school and watching someone else teach. You know, taking that half day or that full day. You know, if people are offered to it, and I know it's an option at our school. It's like, if you want to see someone teach, go. It's too bad. Sometimes it's just not used enough, partially because you've got to make lesson plans for whoever's subbing in your class, and you know, such and such. But it is such a powerful thing just to go out there and see someone else teach.
Yeah.
I think we have a massive disconnect right now. And you know, I mean, the question was, how do we reach people that aren't on Twitter? And you can't necessarily just get them all on Twitter, but how do we continue to reach them? And I see that massive disconnect at our school too. How do we reach parents? You know, we're emailing them. We're putting things in Skyward. You know, we're sending different things home. It is definitely a tough time to connect to people that way. Which is amazing. Is it is so easy to connect, and it is so easy to share. But I don't know how you all feel about it. But I do feel like there could be a technology disconnect. But we've lost a lot of interest in our papers that we send home from school when they went from a paper copy handed to a second grader and they walked them home, to a lot of people not knowing what's going on in our school right now. So I think that's key. How do you reach those people that aren't listening where we're talking?
Mm-hmm.
I think you've hit that personal connection, that face-to-face, in-person contact. You know, for every technology tool that we've got, this what we have right here is fantastic, because we can connect, we can see each other, and we can interact. However, you know, me physically talking to somebody in the same space, the power of that can't be forgotten. And you're right, you know, when a little kid goes home with a piece of paper and they're waving it in their parent's face, read this, read this, read this, you know, that parent is probably more likely to than if it's something on an email and so on. So, yeah, I mean, technology is a double-edged sword sometimes. It works really well for some things, and for other things, it's like, I mean, even let's say going back to a letter in the mail, you know, people like getting mail. Yet most of that, I don't know about you guys, most of the mail I get nowadays is nothing interesting whatsoever. It's like, oh, great bills. But you know, making just a written letter, it's almost come full circle. You might not get with a barrage of emails that you get from people, you may not get someone opening an email or paying attention to it, but if you send them a written communication, a handwritten communication, that may be worth a lot more. So there's a lot to be said for the old school way of doing things as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think it comes back to, you know, how do we deliver what we learn on Twitter out there again? And, you know, whether you have, you know, small teacher meetings at your school and, you know, hope you get as many people to come, or, you know, you start doing ed camps and, you know, those different style things and bringing people along. But, you know, making sure people are going to your conventions, your best practices, you know, all those different kinds of things where, like you say, are face-to-face and amazingly powerful PD tools. So continuing to push that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's easy for a lot of people when you talk about professional development, particularly conferences and workshops, again, when they've been out of the loop of going to them, once they get back into it, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm missing out. But it's, again, how do we get them to take that step back into, you know, taking that time for themselves to develop professionally. You know, again, it is difficult to be gone from your classes. It is tricky when you have to leave sub notes and so on, and it can be a lot of work. But I think the value that you get from those face-to-face experiences, those hands-on experiences, it's huge.
Just looking at a tweet that came in from Andy talking about teacher observation, and you know, another thought on one of the PE chats we had too is how do we see each other teach more? You know, and what else can we do? So Joe, you know, so someone else doesn't have to take, you know, they don't have to do their lesson plans, and someone doesn't have to take over for my class. Using our peers on Twitter, I think, could be a powerful tool. Using, whether it be Google Hangouts, Skypes, just recording yourself and sharing it with someone else. It's definitely a forgotten tool, and an easy way to see, you know, right into their classroom. Much different than 140 characters can explain what's happening too. So it's another thought of how can we see each other more.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I've developed my own website, and every week I videotape and take pictures of my lessons, of my kids being active. So that way I can share my lessons, my activities with other colleagues, but also my parents, my school members, my principal, my superintendent, so they know the value that PE has in my school.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, well, and that's where this, you know, we're doing that Sportfolio chat on Twitter, and I want to do Sportfolios with my students. I think I'm going to try it with my 7, 8s, and 9s this year because I get to teach a triple grade split class, so that'll be fun. But I'm really excited for it. So, you know, I kind of want to bring the Sportfolio in there, and I think that'll be a great way to showcase what we're doing in phys ed, but, you know, the parents can see the students doing it, and it's their kids doing it. So I'm really excited for that. And, I mean, that's, you know, later on in the summer I'm going to work on that, but I'm excited for that part of it.
It's been fun to just kind of watch some of your Sportfolio conversations on Twitter.
Yeah,
to see where that's going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that has blossomed quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you talk about sharing, and it's such an easy way to share what kids are learning, what they're being assessed on. You know, you can visually see them in the classroom. All those different things, and you know, we do have the power nowadays, and I know, Naomi, you and I have talked about it, is now we make that Google site, and all you have to do is hit the share button and punch in their email, and now their parents can, you know, in the first quarter can see every single thing that they've done, you know, visually right there, and the kids can talk them through it. And I know you could probably talk a whole lot more about how you've done that, but yeah,
you know, and I guess that's where we put that little tidbit in too. You know, stay tuned for the Google Health Ed shared folder. But you know, and that's the neat part. I use Google Drive with my students a lot, and I'm trying to get it all online. I know we've talked about having pencil and paper is a good idea too, but you know, lots of my stuff I'm doing with my kids now. We have access to computers. We have access to that technology. So, and we are, you know, a Google Apps for Education school. So, you know, just clicking the share button and, you know, my lesson plan or, you know, the assignment, and all the students get it. They can make a copy of it. Or, you know, you can share it with parents and they can check it out, what we're doing. So, you know, it's really kind of a neat little thing that we can start doing with our school as well, and something to think about. And that's all part of that Sportfolio stuff too.
So, Matt, maybe we need to move on to Phase B.
Very nice. We're just heading right there. So I think the most important part of Phase B that I can read is, you know, you're talking about specific professional growth goals. All right, and then you're going to have to review and search for relevant resources to support the goal. So that's key, you know, finding out maybe what your weakness is or a strength, and, you know, continuing to build on it, and then finding those relevant resources to support it. And I think that's what's great about having multiple learning teams out there, you know, even in the same categories, because a lot of people are going to be researching it. And I think that is a key point, is finding that research-based stuff to try out. And to continue that push, because that is, you know, data-driven. So to me, I guess what I've learned from our educator effectiveness training that's going to be coming up in Wisconsin soon enough. It sounds exactly like it. And I think people that have gone through a PDP, professional development plan, are probably doing some of the same things. But it's just perfect. How do you focus on, the goals that you want to reach?
Yeah, I think with educator effectiveness, being rolled out all over the place now, this is going to be a great platform for people to explore that and to work on that. I mean, like I said, those that have done PDPs are probably a bit more familiar with the process than some of us who have been on the old school get 6 credits every so many years type thing. So I think it's going to help us all work in the right direction.
Well, I love this too, that it's an environment where we're all helping each other and we're all learning from each other, and we're all maybe not working towards the exact same goal, but in the same area. And to me, it's that cooperative environment, where we are working together to reach that goal, and there are people out there that can help you, and we got to get those people connected. And like I say, we just have to share our findings. So. Anybody else on Phase B?
I think you hit the topic well.
All right. Well, I think it's pretty important to know. I think we kind of need to continue on and maybe begin to wrap up here soon enough. But obviously, you're going to kind of push on through Phase C. And you're going to put your strategies into practice, and you're monitor the effectiveness of these strategies, and you're going to continue your research. I think it's important, again, like we talked about, knowing our outcome. What are we going to finish here? What is going to be our finished project? And Phase D, the group is responsible for preparing a presentation. And all groups are going to be required to put together a final presentation that will be streamed on YouTube. So I think it's just important for everyone to know that that's what is going to happen. And Andy had just kind of tweeted that, especially if you have multiple learning themes, this is going to be kind of a marathon here, and, which is good. I mean, it's good. We don't have to rush into anything. You're going to do your research. You're going to work on it and build it up, and it's going to be amazing to see what we come up with. So.
Yeah. Do we have a time frame for this at all, or is this just kind of? Is there one? I don't think I remember reading one.
Well, I'm pretty sure Andy's listening in live, so I have a feeling we could get a tweet here pretty soon about that. It did look to me, I think, in the hopes, if you were focusing on one topic, that hopefully it would be by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But I can't completely confirm that. So I don't know. What do y'all think? Just in general.
I'm on a 5-year plan.
Your presentation is going to be immense. And I think
Pretty sure I will still be teaching that.
I think over the course of a semester or the school year is a pretty natural progression, because and I know I shift gears from one semester to the next with the different classes that I have, but there's a lot of stuff like Naomi's mentioned about portfolios and something. That's one area I know I particularly want to look at for this year. So that to me is going to be a work in progress throughout the year. And yeah, just the thought of seeing what everyone comes up with is, wow, it's going to be amazing.
So timeline, Naomi. Originally, I had sent out an email to my group asking whether they wanted to go from one topic to another, but I am getting the sense from Andy that, we'll explore the area, and these 4 phases really help, so we basically figure out what it is we want to accomplish. We each set our own professional goals. So, if you and I were in a group, Naomi, you may want to find a way to integrate iPads in your thing, and I may be wanting to integrate heart rate monitors, but I can share ideas with you about iPads. You can share ideas with me about heart rate monitors and that kind of thought. And then when we come back for phase B, we actually do a Google Hangout, and so it may take several weeks to actually, or even a month or 2 before we actually would come back together for phase B or phase C to move on to the next step. You know,
Yeah.
so I think it's going to depend on the group, you know, how in depth they want to go with it, the kind of dialogue you're having. There are some groups in the Asian area that are already getting started, so they might be a little bit ahead of us, so we can kind of piggyback on some of the things that they do. But we're all in this together, you know.
Absolutely.
I love that there's that one, you know, final learning outcome, but the road to get there could be so many different ways. You know, you could take a path through the forest, you could take a highway there. You know, you could do whatever you want to get there, and you and your teams. And I think that's the coolest part: is your journey is your own. You know, it's your mode of transportation to get there, no matter what it is. You know, that's obviously the best part about education nowadays too, is, you know, creating stuff where it's individualized, and that individual comes up with their own plan and their own way there. And it's just going to be an amazing process watching people get to that. And I just want to kind of hit on one other part too. I think that Google Hangout is just such an amazing tool. You know, you get to know someone in 140 characters. And you know, you can tweet back and forth, and like I said, there's a lot you can learn from that. But you know, being a part of multiple Google Hangouts now, it is unreal how many ideas can be developed and generated from one short chat. And you know, I mean, that's what happened last week with us, and Naomi and I now have been, you know, 1 week straight where we've been collaborating, you know, through DMs and through chat on you know, Google Drive or whatever, and it has sparked, you know, something that a ton of people can use. And I think a lot of our teams don't quite know yet the power of that communication, you know, that you can have and that you can get when you're in a Google Hangout with those people, and the things that you can learn from them. So we have to use this tool as much as we possibly can, because, you know, you get those personalities, the leaderships, the mentors, the people that are driven, the people that are very knowledgeable on topics. Listen to what they have to say, and let that conversation just drive whatever it is that we can continue to make, you know, as I keep pushing our profession forward. So the power of Google Hangouts. And I don't have a Google shirt on right now. I'm not getting paid any money to say that. But
and I think the other thing to add on to that is that as we've all discovered, using them is a learning curve. It takes a while to get comfortable with talking and like figuring out whose turn is it now. And but it's once you get it going, it's like, wow, the power of it's amazing.
Yeah, it's almost a bad thing in the sense that you get so many ideas. Like, I have a list of things I want to get done now because of all this stuff. It's not going to get done, but hey, I'll start on a piece of everything. But
I had that same feeling. I had that same feeling when I first got on Twitter. I'm like, my whole world just opened up, and it was like, oh my, you know, I was like, watching Matt and all the things he was doing. I'm like, oh my goodness, wow, look, he's Skyping across the world. Look at that.
Yeah, it's quite powerful. It's quite neat.
Yeah.
Andy had tweeted out about the timeframes question that I had too, and he just said timeframes, depending on group, one theme, perhaps 6 months, not sure, up to the learning of each group. So I think, you know, you want to keep it authentic, and you want to keep it, you know, at the pace of your group too, I guess, is kind of important. So, yeah, and then he just put truly unknown in terms of time frame, importance, and focus on genuine and authentic exploration of selected PEPLC theme. And then he tweeted that at you, Matt, because you had said something around those lines. So, yeah, so that's kind of answered my question, I guess. So not a solid end line, but keep things on track, I guess. Yeah.
We have one more poll. Maybe we want to put that out there.
Oh, yes. I think I already tweeted it out.
Okay. Okay, great.
I'll just check to see if anybody added to it.
I can, I'll make a quick screen share just in case, you know, those of them that are following us live online, you can see it. So I think our last poll right here, where do you think PEPLC will take us? And there's your ways to respond. You can text it, you can tweet it, you can go to a website. So lots of different ways to do it. where do we think it's going to take us? I think that's the coolest part.
Yeah, it's exciting.
No one has any idea right now. but getting minds together, and like I say, the hangout is unbelievable. Just to get a chance to listen and to talk and to share, and just to get all those minds together, and the fact that you can stream them live, and go back and watch them at any point in time. Very powerful, very cool. So. Joe, anything you want to add? What do you think? What are your ideas, thoughts, and visions where this thing might go?
Which Joe?
Sorry, Joe M.
I think this is going to make us more qualified as PE teachers, and secondly, healthier students. I think we're going to reach a demographic that we haven't reached before. So I'm excited to see where it's going to take us.
I think you're right. It's just going to raise the bar, and it's just going to keep pushing everyone forward, even if it's only 200 people that's a part of this, because you've got Joe Bailey, and everything's just going to stream down in through Wisconsin, from the things that she learns and the things that she shares, and that's going to happen across the world, and you're going to see some, I think, remarkable impacts quickly. Yeah. So sorry to jump in, Joe. Go right ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Joe. One final thing, and then
we need a nickname.
Exactly. Next week, I'm presenting in Colorado at the Central District AFRID, and one of the things I'm going to be showing them this video. So I'm excited to see the Central District AFRID board this video. So it's going to keep growing, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was going to say for me too is I'm going into my third year of teaching too. Like since I started Twitter, and I know I've said this before too, but my learning curve as a young teacher, your learning curve is huge, right? You just you go straight up. But with being able to be a part of the PEPLC too, it's just going to go straight up. Like there's not going to be an angle. It's just going to be fantastic. So I'm really excited for that. I'm not going to be a teacher that gets maybe into a rut. That can happen sometimes when you're in a small school and you don't get to bounce ideas off anybody else. You're the only person. You close your door and that's it, right? So for me, being in a small school and being, a young teacher, I'm not going to get into that rut, right? I have people that I can collaborate with and talk to, so I'm really excited for that.
I just think just the creativity that's going to come out of it. I mean, that's going to be huge. And this is something we're all passionate about, and you're right. It will, maybe 200 or so people involved in PEPLC, but then 200 reaches 400 to 800 to who knows how wide it's going to go.
Well, I know. I already start seeing people, hearing about our conversations, and wait, how can I get on board with PEPLC?
Right.
Andy and Nathan and the whole gang are going to have to figure out how to add quite a few more people on, because everybody's going to want to get on board. But the great part is, even if you're not involved, as of right now, you can listen, you can learn, you can research the PEPLC.net. I mean, it's going to be an amazing resource for everyone, where we can put that stuff, and everyone can kind of go back and look at it. But, I just saw Andy's tweeting to the moon and beyond. So we know that that's going to happen, and it'll be a cool journey. So a great start with these 5 leaders, that we've had a chance to chat with, and appreciate Andy kind of coming in there for what he can, especially with his family in Bali, and it was nice to see the swimming pool out there too. But
yes.
Any final thoughts our leaders want to discuss here?
Well, I'm hoping that those that are listening to this may have a better sense for how there's somewhat of a framework with this, but their group is going to kind of create the dynamics for how their learning topic takes off. And, so I'm hoping, anybody that still has questions will continue to contact Andy and Nathan, and you know, that we can keep in touch. And you know, I'm just so grateful to have been part of this Google Hangout, to be able to chat with you guys. And it started with Joe wanting to do a Google Hangout just with some Midwest PE teachers, and then it turned into this. So you know, one creative thought multiplies with brainstorming, and I know that's what PEPLC is going to do for all of us.
I agree. Follow us on Twitter. Send us questions.
Yeah.
Send us ideas. I'm looking for some new games to teach next year.
Yeah, I'm just excited for the possibilities of this, and you know, just the connections that are going to be made, and just how my students are going to benefit from it even more. So I don't know. I'm very excited.
I mean, I think it's a common theme that we've said, and I know now, I mean, we've kind of used it a lot as we've been talking recently, but, you know, flat out, hands down, kids win. Kids win big time. And that's just what we, you know, we need to continue our focus. How do we continue to keep them active in our classroom? How do we continue to keep them active outside of our classroom? And how do we keep them to continue on that health trend? Just continue to be healthy individuals in all aspects. So one thing we have to remember, all for the kids, and let's make them win big time.
Yeah, we need them to treasure themselves.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, well, maybe our finishing touch right here. Last tweet from Andy. He says, bring it on. We can add as many as we want to join. PEPLC.
Awesome.
You know, that's the
start
attitude.
joining.
That's the attitude that it's been, you know, from day one. It's come and join, come and help, come and be a part of it, and let's get as many people on board as we possibly can. And I think it's just amazing. So
The more the merrier.
All right. Well, I guess it sounds like we could be ready to sign off. I appreciate you guys being here. What a great discussion. Like I say, great room. I'm blessed to be a part of it. And I just thank you all for taking your time tonight and, you know, spending it with us, and cannot wait to see what kind of comes from it. So
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for letting me join in too. I was kind of last minute, so I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
Love to have you.
Yeah, thanks for the interactive part, and thank you for everyone out there on Twitter who's along, who's watched, who might watch tomorrow or in the weeks coming. And like Joe said, tweet it out. Let us know if you've got questions or whatever other help you need. So we're all there for each other.
Matt, is there a plan for us 5 to do this again in the future?
I think you just made a plan there, Joe. So
all right, part 2. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than willing to do it, and like I say, whoever else wants to hop on board too. But yeah, let's continue the discussion. Let's keep it moving. So
Sounds
all
great.
right.
Perfect.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Great night.
thanks.
PEPLC signing off. Thank you.